Wow. I wasn't expecting a Yoko Ono reference.
That's a Simpsons reference, but that's how I know it, right?
No, but she did it though.
Yeah.
Because of the Simpsons joke. She did that for real.
Yes, I know, but that's a plum?
Yeah,
oh, damn.
It is actually a plum.
Let me reread it. I also said coming up too late because my monitor is over here, and to be able to read the teleprompter, I only get peripheral vision on the...
You can read it off mine.
Oh, yeah, I can. Let me do the coming up one more time.
All right.
I gotta get that plum reference right. Coming up, are your friends still arguing about what is and isn't a taco? Well, there's a new game about classifying soup. What makes a soup? Does it need to be entirely made of edible bits? Solid? Liquid? Served in a band bowler hat? With perfume and a plum floating in it? These are the questions we need to answer in 2016. Did I seriously just say 2016?
Yeah.
What's wrong with me? What's wrong with both of us today? Why are we so bad at our jobs?
Oh, I'm so confused. I keep writing 2016 on all my jokes.
Oh, one more time.
All right.
Ah.
Coming up, are your friends still arguing about what is and isn't a taco? Well, there's a new game about classifying soup. What makes a soup? Does it need to be entirely made of edible bits? Is it solid, liquid, served in a man's bowler hat, filled with perfume with a single peat plum floating? Never mind, I'm done. No.
A single
Leave
pea plum.
A single pea floating in it, maybe?
I think I'm just going to stick with peach and be damned if the reference is wrong.
Ah.
Use the plum one and then use the 2017 from the other tape.
I'll see what I can do.
A single pea.
Single pea plum.
I don't know why this is so funny.
Mommy, I have to make pea plums.
That very long.
Pea plum.
No, it's because the perfume and the plum bit were like I realized
That's not in the script.
It's not in the script. I realized it was an ad lib when I was reading it. I was like, why didn't I make the Simpsons reference? Because you really can get soup in a bowler hat in the game.
I think we got a usable episode in there somewhere.
Should I stop recording?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah.
Wow.
Have you tried turning your wife off and on again? Look, what we do in the privacy of our own bedroom. Isn't the pea plum a lady's top? Is it? I don't know. I just got pea plums all over my Jimmy Jams.
Ah.
Good night, everybody. Yeah, no kidding. Error. Checkpoint has crashed. Error 2016 has occurred.
Now is the right time to bring up Kathleen's framing in the 3 different camera shot? Was I framed badly?
Well, it was.
I'm sure it was weird.
The framing is weird.
Oh, the framing's weird. So the framing for that shot is weird because when you go to a story, actually, Paul, just go to a story.
Hello.
This is the framing.
So it's over the side.
Meaning that if you look at this shot without the graphics.
I guess we could like center you. I guess we could actually like move you over in the thing.
Making them hit references for all the kids. Damn. Usain Bolt. Wait, no. What's that?
He does like that thing. Yeah.
The javelin.
Yeah.
This is the perfect maiden voyage for the new studio.
We've shot so many things in here.
Yeah. Incorporating stuff like the other microphone as well may have been.
Maybe a little ambitious?
Maybe.
Yeah, it would have been fine.
That was good.
I just pushed the wrong button.
That's fine.
So, yeah.
I feel like much more like the Lord of the Dunce today.
All right, so you're escaping.
Yes, I need to go do something.
Okay.
I need to go find some pea plums. I ate all the ones that you left in the icebox. Forgive me. They were awful. I'm sorry. Okay.
Wow.
Paul, can you mute my microphone so I can turn it off without making any interference?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm sad that Graham didn't mess up during the ASMR segment. Well, I had extra time. I wasn't moving very quickly. So, Kathleen's going to leave, but Paul's going to join me. And we'll talk about stuff such as... So first, the stories that we did talk about. The Mario Odyssey thing is great. I love that people have started... They're so... As I use the term thirsty, and I think that's accurate.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Paul. So thirsty for speedrunning Super Mario Odyssey that they're like, well, okay, here's a brand new category. It's called Demo Stand-Up Category or whatever the hell they're calling it. And they've already figured out some sick techniques.
But like people like speedrunners, like they spend like they must be like just spending hours and hours in front of that thing.
Yeah, that's why I said very patient GameStop employees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, there's probably like a bunch of like little kids that want to get on there and like try out Mario, and they're like, "No, this is serious."
Also, Odyssey looks sweet. Just from watching the 5-minute speedrun, I was like, "Oh, this game looks rad." I'm really excited about it. So that's cool. Perkel is just sort of interesting. Swoomy.
It's a game celebrating the 100th year anniversary of Finland.
I just love that the cover of the box is like a guy going like in a tracksuit because of course it's.
And just I just like that it's randomly.
On an NES.
That it's randomly not only an NES game, but the only way you can play it is you need both an NES card and a zapper for an NES.
Yeah.
Because one of the games is a zapper game.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's got sweet music.
Mm-hmm. The ASMR thing. I don't seek out ASMR videos. It's not like a thing I watch. I have watched them, and I've been like, oh, okay, I know, I get it. Like I'm responsive to that. Like I like when I'm getting my like haircut or something, I can sort of like feel it tingling. You know, like I'm into that kind of thing, but it's not something I watch. But the PUBG ASMR, it's not great. Because for one, because I enjoy PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, and ASMR could be a thing for me, and this combination, personally, no bueno. Because it really is the like, oh, did you see that? I really fucked that guy up. All right, let's take all his ammo, and it's like, what is? It's like, very strange.
Because like I don't like just from streaming my own streaming stuff on Loading Ray Run. Like every once in a while, I've like started the stream like doing a funny voice or something.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
But when you're like playing and you're actually like, you know, getting into the game or encountering like a hard part in the game or whatever, all that stuff usually goes away, right? Mm-hmm. Like to have the presence of mind to be like, oh, that is not good.
Yeah. This is really bad for me. I'm totally boned right now. You don't have to be ashamed to say you're a fan of ASMR. It's a big deal out there. Like lots of people like it, and it's an interesting. I feel like it's one of those things that is like, you know, because of the internet, it was one of those things that people like individually were like, hey, this is kind of a weird thing. Yeah.
But then because of the internet, realize that it's like, oh, hey, this is actually a real thing that like other people experience.
Yeah.
And
there's a range as well, like listening to like, you know, getting like good headphones and listening to like, I don't know, like sort of crinkly sounds and sort of like you kind of feel it on your neck is like, okay, cool. But then there's some that are more in sort of a almost explicitly sexual realm. That's like, for me, maybe I can't listen to it. It's just like,
And then there's
personally,
and as related to that explicitly sexual one, there is also people. That's part of the reason why people are really into Bob Ross.
He's a very calming voice.
He's like he's a unintentional, I guess, ASMR thing.
Frisson. Yes.
Deeply sexual.
ASMR wants to make me tear my skin off my face. All right, well, fair enough. You can see there's a wide range. But yeah, it's the PUBG. Like I don't even like. I think like an RPG would be cool. You know, just like sitting around and like, hey, we're gonna go and do this sort of stuff. And, you know, but
I mean, there's or just like the sort of walking around in Minecraft or
oh no, chewing. No, yeah, there is some ASMR with like eating, and I'm just like, oh,
no,
that would just like drive me up the fucking wall.
Or I know there's one. I was reading about in for a Checkpoint story. I was reading about a guy who does like Skyrim, where he doesn't actually like do any like quests.
Just walks through the forest.
He's just like sightseeing inside Skyrim, basically.
Also was happy with unnamed persons for exchange of bullets. Yeah, no Super Metroid at AGDQ is. I'm totally cool with it because they're like, okay, Super Metroid, and then we'll do like a head-to-head, and then we'll do like a 4-player race, and it's like, how many iterations of this game can we do when there's so many other new things that we want to try? You just know people are going to meme all over them in their donations. So I don't know. They could just stop reading those messages. AGDQ, you could just stop reading the donation messages. You could just stop. As a suggestion.
I mean, obviously part of it is that it raised a lot of money because people like to do the thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the list for the games that are going to be on AGDQ.
Oh man.
Is quite interesting.
I'm so excited for a bunch of them.
Like there's ones that there's like Mega Man and a bunch of the ones in like, Zelda and stuff, and some of the ones that you expect. And maybe that's part of it is that they were, maybe making room for some newer, or not newer, but more unusual stuff. For instance, like I've never seen a speed run of like Tony Hawk Pro Skater. And it's like 25 minutes for like everything in Tony Hawk.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. I'm excited for 4-player co-op Left 4 Dead 2 campaign in like 50 minutes.
And there's like, I think there's like an hour or like an hour and a half to do the full. No, it was like less than an hour to do the full Humans campaign from Warcraft 3.
The donation messages are a large part of why ANSGDQ gets so many donations.
Yeah.
I don't think that's true.
I don't know.
I actually don't think that's a big part of it, because there's absolutely no way that they read out every donation message that they get. They wouldn't have time, if they went for 3 weeks, they wouldn't have time to read out the donations, the messages for every donation. So I'm fairly positive that if they looked at their stats, that would be not correct. But anyway.
Yeah, I like that they're doing different games. Apparently, part of the problem with Metroid is that, like, I think actually, like, it was partially that, a decision, but it was also that they didn't actually get a lot of the sort of notable Metroid speedrunners didn't actually, like, because you, like, submit things. And I think there's been a bit of there's a thing with Metroid, Super Metroid. This is what I understand from reading this article, or from reading some of the comments on this, is that in the last couple of years, or in recent times, a new speedrun was found, like a new way to go,
like a new route,
and so the time came down a little bit. But that new route is really hard.
Yeah,
like. Obviously the people who are doing speedruns in Metroid games are ridiculously good at Metroid, and even for them, it's, we're talking frame perfect space jumps or whatever.
Ow!
Wall jumps. And so when you're playing it on the stream in front of all these people and all this stuff, and because you're doing a speedrun, you're not hitting save points, because those are just wasted time. So you can go through the speed run and fail like multiple times, and that's not really great video.
Yeah. And the last story that we talked about was IGN buying Humble Bundle, and I mean, I basically sort of gave all the thoughts on that. As everyone's sort of like,
yeah,
okay.
I mean, obviously it's a bit up in the air right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's the notion of a website that provides consumer advice owning a storefront, and more so a publisher.
Yeah,
is weird.
And it's like
I'm not here and being like fuck IGN and like flipping the table and whatever, but it's like that's
it's a weird combination.
Interesting.
Too. Like when you bring them together, because it's like Humble Bundle has so much goodwill, and like like they're very well respected in the community, and and so like my gut reaction,
and they all seem pretty happy with this,
right? And so like my gut reaction when Humble Bundle says like, hey, we're gonna do a new project, whatever that project is, is like cool. To give them benefit of the doubt and be like, that sounds like it'll be cool. And I know because you guys are because you are great, that you're doing all this great stuff, that I'm sure whatever you're doing is going to be great. On the other hand, IGN has absolutely no credibility, like no goodwill whatsoever. Like, they're not the scummiest. Like I haven't heard that much about them being like outright scummy, but they're just like they're just very low, very very low. Like I remember there was a thing like back in the day where they did the like site takeover of McDonald's.
To be fair, like that's the like the page takeover banner ads thing is honestly like the worst that I'm aware of from IGN, when it's like on the review, you'll have like, here's our review for Mass Effect, and it's like the background is Mass Effect and the banner ad is Mass Effect, and it's like, basically.
Yeah.
So, and, ostensibly, the editorial department and the marketing department are separated.
Right.
And,
And so theoretically that would continue on to the Humble thing.
Yeah, but it's,
obviously.
Like,
so
it's not, like, I cannot name off the top of my head any, like, big kerfuffle involving IGN.
No.
And I can do that for other sites. So I'm like,
yeah.
All right. But I don't have any skin in this game. There's also that, so.
So it's just, and so it's sort of like, okay, it's like, I like the Humble.
The Kane and Lynch thing wasn't IGN.
Yeah.
For the record.
That was GameSpot.
Yeah.
But, so like, I like the, and so it's.
They're the Bud Light of games media outlets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, I like GameSpot, or sorry, I like Humble Bundle, and so I think it's probably the end result is going to be, and like I trust Humble Bundle to the best of their ability will try to do right. The question is whether they will be permitted to do. They're probably in a position where they don't have total say over what happens, right? And so obviously that.
You feel Bad Man says, I have skin in this game, and it's still kind of,
Yeah. All right, other stuff. Now, this is something that actually I've seen like people talking about in the chat and in like Discord and stuff. That there's this game where you make paper clips. It's a clicker game.
Oh, okay.
So it's like click, make paper clips.
Sure.
And
is this inspired by like that thought experiment of the machine that turns the universe into paper clips?
I don't know what that meant.
Oh, okay. It's this I can't remember who's responsible for it, but it's this like thought experiment of like creating an AI and you just give it the instruction, make as many paper clips as you can, and then it just starts turning the universe into paper clips. The way Cam described it is like it's like make as many paper clips as you can, and then it sits there and does nothing and does nothing and does nothing, and then eventually produces an object that you do not recognize, and then the universe is paper clips, right?
Yeah, I believe that is actually the inspiration.
The unlimited automation paperclip problem. Yeah.
Like, because basically what it is it's like, you know, all these kind of games where it's like you upgrade things to like make it automatically click for you and stuff. But then it starts getting weird. And it starts there starts being like all these weird extra things that you have to manage or that you're managing. And yes, I believe the end game is the entire universe's paper.
Nice. Kriegerson, just as a brief thing, saying I generally go to streamers that I trust for game reviews, and that's great. But you know, you trusting them is key, and remember that a lot of streamers and YouTubers do not consider themselves beholden to journalistic standards of integrity or ethics. And
in the last year, that's had to change a lot, though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying there's a lot of people who are like, no, I'm not a journalist, so I can say whatever the fuck I want, and that's dangerous. You know, like journalists get a bad rap largely because the YouTubers I'm specifically talking about continue to paint journalists in a bad light when they do not always deserve it. It's a bug up my ass because I've worked in actual journalism as well, and so it's like I don't like it. Anyway, hey,
yeah, I mean, like I wouldn't. Yeah, it's like unless otherwise, I would certainly not consider somebody who's like streaming and talking about the game to be a journalist thing.
Yeah, no, but
and so
it's
that weird combination of that it's like, you know, wanting to be sort of treated with the deference or whatever of a journalist, but not actually with any of the responsibilities.
Yeah, exactly. That's what bugs me. It's when, speaking as someone who makes their living from YouTube and streaming, when YouTubers and streamers act like it's the Wild West and there's no rules, that bothers me because that hurts my livelihood in a progressively irreparable way if it keeps getting worse.
Yeah, like I mean,
it's irresponsible.
Like we talk about games that we're playing.
Oh yeah.
Or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But not.
I'm not saying don't go to YouTubers and streamers for their opinions, right?
But not. But we're not doing it in a journalistic capacity. You know, we're giving our opinion as we're playing it, whatever that may be. You know, and we're not making any pretensions of anything else other than this show, I guess, where we are sort of explicitly making pretensions. But
that's sort of the bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, a further story.
Yeah.
About the
remember that story? What, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Where they hit 1.3 million concurrent, which was
beat Dota, which was the biggest ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've now broken 2 million.
So statistically speaking, if you're watching this right now, you are also playing PUBG. That's how it is.
Statistically speaking, yeah.
Yeah. Even if you don't know it, you are actually playing PUBG.
Finland turns 100. The creator of Nier says he would make an adult movie. That's cool.
Yeah,
I didn't actually read that story.
Well, it was one of these things where, you know, he was doing an interview and talking about different things. People were saying, you know, asking him sort of what's next and what kind of things do you want to do, and like, would you be interested in working on another Drakengard game? And he was like, definitely, you know, if somebody can put up the money for it, I'm there, no problem. And then they're like, you know, what other, you know, you've done all these sort of different things. What other stuff do you want to do? And he was like, I'd like to do an adult movie sometime. People are like,
that adds up.
Okay. Good for you.
Oh yeah, there's a story from Shroud.
Oh yeah,
who is the #1 stream on Twitch, #1 PUBG streamer, obviously, but actually the #1 channel period,
At least,
on Twitch, at least last month,
yeah.
by a sizable margin. It was like the bar graph was like Shroud, Summit, like official League of Legends, official Dota.
Yeah.
Like it was, Shroud is, he came out of nowhere and he's killing the game, but in the good way. But in this particular instance, certainly. It was so he was in a game and was involved in a firefight with a couple people who may or may not have been hacking. It sure looked like they were.
Like they're moving around in a way.
The way they were moving and the aimbotting and stuff. Yeah, like they were like, I guess allegedly definitely hacking. And when he died, he looked at the kill feed and was like, oh, well, this guy, this user, obviously hacking, and then went on with his life. But the name that he read out was not actually the name of the person that killed him and was not the person that was hacking. And he didn't even think a second thought about it. He's like, this person, to be clear, the name was Go Bang. It was Go_Bang. That person's probably hacking. And then continued. The problem is when you have 40,000 plus people watching, some number of them are gonna. This is where I've talked before about sort of understanding the reach that you have. People are gonna go try and report that person, especially when you make sure to read their name out loud really, really clearly so that people understand what the name is. And this person who was not hacking got their account reported many times. They went on the PUBG subreddit and were like, here's the replay and here's Shroud. And people were like, oh, that sucks. And then Shroud was like, I'm sorry. And he apologized and said it was a misunderstanding and reached out to the user and was like, do you want to, because the other guy's a streamer as well, like, but much smaller, was like, do you want to come and play on my stream? And the guy was like, you know what, that's cool. I actually don't want to open myself up to that audience again, but would appreciate it. So they're cool now, but it's an interesting story.
And to be clear, he didn't get like banned, like he was reported a whole bunch of times.
Yeah.
But he didn't get banned or anything. But the reason why I marked that story is it's like, it is like it's the high profile streamer, calling somebody out, doing a thing, and it was wrong, and it's sort of this drama thing, and then they're like, he's like, apologize, like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The other guy's like, thank you for
That's
apologizing
cool.
and stuff, and it's
out.
like, hey,
the guy who he named thinks that Shroud is a cool guy, and everything. So.
And it's like, hey, we can do this. Like it's like even though they have, especially Shroud has a massive community and stuff, but it's like it's cool that could happen and it didn't have to be a whole thing.
A big part of why Shroud is so popular. He's been a professional CS:GO player for some years. He plays on Cloud9 is the team, but he's like an alternate, so he's not like training with them all the time. And so he had some amount of following from that. And then he came into PUBG streaming at a time when a couple of the largest PUBG streamers were, frankly, pissing off viewership with their bad attitude. That they were like very good at the game and generally entertaining, but when they lost, they would just bitch and moan. It was never their own fault. It was always something else's problem, maybe stream sniping, maybe hacking. There was always a litany of complaints. And then Shroud comes along, is amazing at the game, is super chill, and when he dies, he's like, well, that's the game, and just rolls up the next one. Like, even in this case where he was calling out this person that he thought was hacking, he was like, well, there's that person as a hacker. All right, queue up again. He just sort of rolled right into it, and it's this snowball effect, and suddenly 40,000 people. He's got over 30,000 subscribers on Twitch. He is one person. You can do the math on that, remembering that a standard Twitch deal is half of the sub money. 30,000 subscribers. Nice work if you can get it.
Yeah, it's turns out that
the sun was in their controller. My eyes were lagging. Yeah. Being pleasant earns. Yeah, basically.
It helps that he's also incredibly good at the game.
Yeah.
You can't just be pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. So I thought this was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
Blizzard has been trying to set up Hearthstone meetups. So like in-person Hearthstone games.
But why?
They call what they're doing is they call it like it's like the Hearthstone Tavern, and so you can like set up a tavern,
Okay.
and then have like people come and play. And they're pushing it to the extent that there's currently a limited edition like skin or like a player picture
Okay.
that is only available from official taverns.
All right.
In order to get an official tavern, you have to get a bunch of people together to play at least twice, I think, like at the same location, and then you can apply to be a tavern and stuff. So, I mean, obviously, part of it is kind of funny because it's like this is something that, you know, because we deal with, you know, Magic all the time, and there's this sort of Magic Hearthstone comparison in the digital world all the time. You know, Mythic in comparison to Hearthstone, you know, doesn't usually come out on top, doesn't come out very good.
Yeah.
But it's funny to see Blizzard trying to do this thing that WotC obviously has been doing for 20 years.
Yeah.
And has, like, you know, they have their issues with their LGS set stuff sometimes,
Yeah.
but they basically have it on lock.
Yeah.
And they've worked really, really hard at it. And you can, you know, the vast majority of places you can get to a local game store where they're probably talking about this, where it's like, you know, having to, there's only, you know, these Hearthstone places are not very oftenly available and stuff. So it's just I find that, you know, kind of funny from a sort of shoe on the other foot perspective.
Yeah.
Being like, hey, yeah, too bad you guys don't have cards or something that people can bring around.
Yeah.
They have to bring their computers.
What's it like to have a game be all digital, nerd?
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
they could print out the Hearthstone things and then play with those.
Angry Optimist, I'd be afraid of what it would do to the community if LRF fandom got big enough to get to 30,000 subs, but I hope it happens anyway. Oh, thank you. I'd be okay with it. We're way more than one person too, so you know.
And like
we could
and if it
make it work.
happened, obviously, if like 30,000 people watching Shroud just came over and started watching us for no reason, that would be weird.
Yeah.
But presumably, if the community becomes 30,000, it will have grown by people wanting to view us. It won't just be like, punk, a bunch of people from somewhere else.
We didn't get here quickly, but we earned it.
Yeah.
Not that he didn't earn it.
Yeah.
I like his stuff. Also, we've been watching him a lot, and there's always the, for me at least, there's always the probationary period when you start watching a new streamer where you're like, don't be shitty.
Yeah.
Don't be shitty. And he hasn't been shitty, so that's really nice. This is interesting. So did you see that the ESRB has determined, or they have at least claimed, that in their eyes, loot boxes are not gambling?
Yeah.
Which is relevant for a whole bunch of legal ramifications.
Yeah.
In the UK, a member of the UK Parliament, Daniel Zeichner, a Labour MP from Cambridge, has asked the UK Secretary of State for Digital Culture, Media and Sport what steps will be taken, quote, to protect vulnerable adults and children from illegal gambling, in-game gambling, and loot boxes within computer games. Because they believe, because the ESRB doesn't, first of all, the ESRB doesn't actually have, like, they can't say legally that something is or isn't gambling. They don't consider it gambling. Well, and they don't have jurisdiction in the UK anyway. But this guy thinks
theoretically it would also affect how they rate games if they consider it gambling.
Exactly. Yeah.
And just for people who don't know how the UK system works, when he says like this minister asked this other guy, they don't mean that it's not just like, hey, what's up? There's an actual official process called question period.
Yeah.
Where people can stand up and be like, Your Honor, I question you about this. And then they have to actually it's like a public thing.
It's a formal questioning, meaning that then they have to actually like look into it. And then this amuses me. There was a second question, like there's like a follow-up specific to the jurisdiction of the Isle of Man. Which is cool. Which has a stronger and different legal code.
So the only place in the world where currently loot boxes are considered gambling is the Isle of Man.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether whether there's different, like whether there's a version of like PUBG on the Isle of Man that doesn't
Literally,
have loot boxes.
all I know about the Isle of Man is two things. I know from an episode of Top Gear that they have a time trial course.
Mm-hmm.
And I know from the Fast Show that other people in England consider the people that live on the Isle of Man weird.
Also, actually, I believe they have no speed limits.
That must be why they have that time trial course.
Also or their speed limit setup is different than.
Yeah. Isle of Man.
And they have their really sweet flag. Yeah, the like
Right,
3
the
legs
flag.
rolling down the hill.
Yeah, my favorite is just it's the guy leaning up against the fence, being like, "Do you like liver? Do you like bacon? Do you like liver and bacon? Come and see my collection on the Isle of Man." it's just this recurring thing on the Fast Show where there's just weirdos living on the Isle of Man, and it's like, oh, okay, that's the place you make fun of. All right, cool. We have Newfoundland, but good for you guys, you know.
So yeah, I mean, it's an interesting idea of the loot boxes, whether they're gambling. And
It's
like,
also essentially the center of the internet gambling industry. Really? Is it like a tax haven or something?
interesting.
GZ56, yes. Deviants. Deviants.
But it's an interesting idea though. Like, you know, is it gambling or is it just like a blind box thing? Like, you know, like packs of cards.
Mm-hmm.
What's the distinction? I guess. And it's something that, and like the PEGI, the European ratings board, has also been looking into this.
Apparently, they also do not consider loot boxes gambling.
And of course, and said obviously the video game rating board doesn't have authority over what's gambling and what isn't.
Yeah.
But if they decide that something is gambling, then things that involve gambling, obviously they're going to change. They're going to make the ratings more adult because it's not a kids thing. So it's an interesting idea, and I feel like in the last, I mean, obviously loot boxes have been a big thing for a while, but in the last like 2 months or so, there's been a couple of high-profile things that people have started to really.
Shadow of War.
Yeah.
Is a big one with the
which there's an exploit that just happened.
Yeah.
That there's just a bug that people could basically like get infinite money and then buy infinite loot boxes.
Yeah, which is pretty funny. But yeah, supposedly in Shadow of War, there's like a bonus end game that you can get by grinding your ass off or by buying stuff from loot boxes, supposedly. Also, NBA 2K18 was really heavily criticized for how it did loot boxes. Star Wars Battlefront 2 has been very heavily criticized for how it's done loot boxes. Forza 7 is like stuff that previously was just in the game before is now tied to loot boxes. And it's kind of getting out of hand, to be honest.
I feel like it's one of those things where it's hard, you know, as with a lot of this stuff, it's very hard to lock down a very sort of airtight definition of like where that line is.
Yeah.
And so there's like, this we know is gambling.
Yeah.
This we know is not. And then there's this gray area, and where your company decides to place itself on that gray area is up to your morals and whether you want to support a company that is into the darker area of that gray area is up to everybody's own thing.
So no, WWE 2K18, which is also from 2K, the NBA one has the whole loot boxes thing. WWE, this is interesting. There are, not all loot boxes are created equal. There are loot boxes in WWE 2K18.
That's the definition of
That's
loot boxes.
probably why it's gambling. No,
They're
but
all equal.
what I mean is, in previous iterations of the WWE series, you earn, in the career mode, you earn this like in-game currency called VC or whatever it's called. And you use that to like buy unlocks in the game. And you can't buy more of it with real money. And in the new game, instead of directly buying unlocks with this in-game currency, you buy loot boxes that give you random rewards. You still cannot buy the currency with real money. So that's very different. You can only buy it with
that does put a firewall on it.
Yeah, you can only buy it with the in-game earnable currency. Generally, what people are talking about with this is how, for example, the criticism against Star Wars Battlefront 2 is that the criticism being leveled against it is that it is pay to win, because you can put more money in the game, get more loot boxes, get more power up and more levels, and then be more powered than people who haven't rolled well or put the money in the game. So that's a pretty important distinction, that in WWE 2K18 there is no way to put real money into it to get them, and it's only relevant for the career mode.
It's an interesting, you can see like you end up with this weird thing where if somebody is,
yeah, you can get actual levels from the loot boxes in Battlefront 2.
I mean, that's the other thing, is that the cosmetic versus actual practical stuff. That's a big. Yeah. But the idea of these loot boxes of things that are.
Excuse me, just 1 second.
Yeah, the idea that loot boxes are sort of a dangerous.
Hey, Kelly.
A dangerous thing, I think.
An awake and very sad
something
baby.
That, obviously they are accessing that aspect of your brain,
Sorry.
the gotcha stuff. But there are lots of things that do that, and it's kind of hard to.
Oh yeah, I have a hot mic. Well, all right then. My mic was on for that. Penelope woke up.
Yeah.
To fill you in, I said we have a very awake baby, and she was sad.
Oh.
Because wouldn't you be if you woke up in a dark room with a giant dick butt staring at you? Actually, Andrew took that home, so he's not here anymore.
That's probably for the best.
Yeah. Speaking of 2K18, any chance of a career or universe mode series this time around? Possibly. I got really close to wanting to do, I wanted to. I got really close to actually doing that last year, but it's just so complicated, and it was on my PS4, and it turned into a whole thing. This year I'm doing the PC version, which I'm hoping, because apparently like load times and menuing will be a lot easier on the PC version, that like setting that up might take less time, and then maybe we can do something fun with like a My Universe mode, which is the mode where you actually like, the Universe mode is where you set up like, you do like a year of wrestling, and you make your own shows, and you make your own pay-per-views, and the game sort of like, you do storylines, and you invent rivalries, and you act like WWE creative, and you're like, all right, now go, but you don't actually do you can if you want, but you don't actually do the wrestling, as opposed to the career mode where you're like, here is my wrestler, and I'm going to get up, I'm going to go through the year and get up to WrestleMania. And it looked really interesting, but again, it was just like the menuing on the PS4 just took so long. So, and the load times were pretty rough. So.
I mean, yeah. I guess the last thing about loot boxes.
Hell yeah, Mangle Pixel.
Is this the weird thing about the buying, like making whether they can be bought with real money or not, is that as a developer, I could certainly see situations where you're sitting there and you're like, we're not going to make our loot boxes purchasable with real money.
Yeah.
And then your customers are coming to you and they're saying, I want to buy more loot boxes.
Yeah.
Right? And so now you're in the thing where it's like, I'm protecting you from yourself, I guess.
At a certain size of company also, like, what do you tell the board?
Yeah, it's like we literally have people lining up to give us money.
And we told them no.
We're trying to say no because we don't think
You're
it's a good
fired?
idea.
Right? Like, it's, It's
anyway.
tough.
Yes, that was all the news that's fit to talk about. Oh, it's not funny, or it might not be interesting for other people, but I'm super excited that the two guys from Toys for Bob are finally doing something other than Skylanders.
Yep.
Because they spun off their own company, and they're making, apparently they're working on a new Star Control that will be Star Control 2.
I know
but
one.
more.
I know one chat mod who's very excited about this.
Yeah.
Lord Holosk.
It'll be more Star Control 2 rather than Star Control 3 and bad.
Nice.
And apparently it's all it's not going to be called Star Control because Stardock
Yes.
owns that.
Stardock. Yeah.
They bought a whole bunch of stuff.
So it's not Star Control 2, but it's something.
I think it's called like the precursor or something.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be, I don't know.
Silent,
Presumably it's going to be like not for a long time. But
Silent Drone. Yes. Here's the state of Sidewalk Slam.
The state of Sidewalk Slam.
As has been demonstrated, I can't be responsible for editing it. If we want to keep doing the show, I can't edit it because I have too many other things to do and it takes a long time. So, the SummerSlam episode, which we have recorded some time ago, and then it just sat there because I couldn't get to it, is in editing. I've deputized Ben. He's rapidly learning about wrestling. He was like, yeah, I watched an episode of Main Event the other night, and I was like, oh, dude. He's like, what? I'm like, nothing happens on Main Event. He's like, yeah, I noticed that. I'm like, yeah, no, you don't watch Main Event. But anyway, so he's actively editing the Sidewalk Slam episode, and it's going well, and I'm really excited about the future possibility of Adam and I recording one, and then Ben can edit it, and then you get to actually see them.
And
so.
Yeah, also, I believe actively cursing you guys about, like, you're supposed to be talking about SummerSlam. I have all these clips from SummerSlam. I'm spending all my time finding clips of these old...
The SummerSlam episode had a lot of digressions.
I think he was saying, like, by 45 minutes, you guys had got to the third match in SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And so he's having to dig up, he's spending all this time digging up, like, way old clips of the, like, bodybuilding thing.
Yeah, we do talk about the World Bodybuilding Federation briefly. Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah.
Well, this is why we have staff.
All right.
Anyway.
So, thanks for watching. This checkpoint, I think, went so well that we'll take next week off.
Yeah.
To congratulate ourselves.
Yeah.
Because Graham and Kathleen will be away next week.
Yeah.
So, no checkpoint next week. I might talk about news or something, but no formal checkpoint. No business-like refined checkpoint like we normally do.
Tonight is one more, I believe, or something. Tonight, I think, is something. I think it's one more. I'm not entirely sure because we're doing another switcheroony, and Tinker Tailor will be tomorrow night.
Yes.
So tomorrow on New Day Tuesday is South Park, The Fractured Butthole, with Kathleen and Ash.
Ooh.
I believe is the plan. And then tomorrow night will be Tinker Tailor Solder Fry, as in continues more home automation, and potentially B. Jor Cameron will be doing another thing with him. So,
yeah. Should be good. And then
no Loading Ready Live this week. No LRL this week because myself and James and Beej and Cameron and Heather and Corey will be at TwitchCon in Long Beach. So yeah, if you're going to be around TwitchCon, or if you're just a fan of Long Beaches, come by and say hi.
I like Long Beach. It's also like in Parksville.
Yeah, there's a Long Beach here as well. Yeah, it turns out they're like, what should we call this place? I'm noticing this is a very long beach there. Ooh, love it.
Yeah. Nobody's ever thought of naming beaches by their length before.
Yeah.
There's no like short beach, is there? Medium beach?
No.
Beach that has no remarkable length.
The beach with no name.
It's like this beach is exactly average beach length. This is, when I think of a beach, this length that we're seeing right now is the length that I think of.
No LRL TwitchCon panel? No TwitchCon panel at all, actually. We're doing a meet and greet.
Yeah.
And we're going to be around, but we're actually...
They'll be hiding in the shadows.
Turns out they have a lot of panels. And we didn't get one. But maybe next time. We'll be doing a meet and greet on on a time. Do you want to get the sub thing ready
Yes.
while I load my email? There we go. Schedule of activities. Can we tell people about this yet? Yes. Okay. Meet and greet.
There will be activities.
The 22nd. What day of the week is that? That's the Sunday.
Sunday afternoon.
Yes.
As the great says.
Oh, great. Yeah. Yeah, we're doing a partner meet and greet from 1400 to 1530 on Sunday the 22nd at the same time as...
Don't tell people what they are going to miss you for.
No. Other partners at the meet and greet.
Oh, I see.
No.
Yeah, it's like at the same time as this other panel that's really awesome. You guys should probably go to that.
No. Soda Poppin', I guess. Giant Waffle and Munition is going to be there at the same time. Brian Kibler is going to be there at the same time as we are. And like 3 or 4 other people. So, can someone remind me DB's start date? Yes, November 17th.
Alrighty.
I think
10 o'clock.
At 10 a.m. Pacific time. So, okay, let's do it.
Let's run this.
NK Raven with a 5-month resub. Welcome back.
Ty Pulsar 85 is a new subscriber.
Exbando with a 50-month, wow, resub. 50 months, when did that happen?
This up.
It's happened slowly over the course of the last 50 months.
Vivid Soul for 10 months. Thank you for the entertainment. Thank you for watching.
Matman X311 with a 13-month resub. Ding dong bing bong.
Batian for 4 months. Checkpoint on Tuesday. Time Zone Hype.
We are updating desertbus.org very soon, I promise you. Legion of Lashes, a new sub, or at least a new subscription from Legion of Lashes. Welcome.
Hypermute Kick.
Molly Lewis with an 11-month resub. I came here to resub and the prompter farted, so I guess I'll leave. No, Molly, come back.
It's not your fault. A-Wells 44 for 18 months. Can we get James to update events? James, update events.
Cetra Lynn with a 19-month resub. I do believe in the prompter. I do. Wibbly fingers.
It worked, sort of. Upstage JMC for 5 months. Hey, Graham, when you say indulge me, you reply...
Forever, milady.
They went to sub on Friday.
Salem Adams with an 8-month resub.
Thermos for 23 months. Can we get the finished game for Matters of Import? Laser seals sound amazing.
We should try to find that. Joyful Chaos, an 11-month resub. Almost a year of subscribing.
Nintendo.
Welcome. We can find one.
Bengineering for 8 months says butts.
Battery dying on mic? Maybe. Stuffern with a 49-month resub says, holy shit.
D-Links for 3 months.
Batteries are fine. Nikon with a new sub. Welcome to the channel.
Sati Lanfear is a new subscriber. Welcome.
Godort with a 6-month resub. What is best in life? See your enemies to crush your enemies. See them driven before
Golden Loki for 2 months. Thank you for being so funny and entertainment during these sometimes hard days. You are welcome. Our pleasure.
Wazderfui with a 13-month resub. Welcome back. Thank you.
Drakal X for 13 months.
Alexair with a 10-month resub. Welcome back.
Ghostwise for 11 months. Thanks for 11 excellent months.
Thank you.
He's actually been watching for like 30 months.
Yeah. Sneakiest Creighton with a 12-month resub. 1 year.
Scar Red Tiger for 17 months. I bring you this bowler hat filled with perfume and a pea plum floating in it.
And thanks for 101 bits from Earthen1 and Xanto69.
101 bits.
Nice.
It's always like 101 bits to teach you how to do a thing. So anyway.
Bits 101. Alrighty, that's going to be it for Checkpoint. And yeah, that's it. Come back tonight for one more, and then tomorrow for New Day Tuesday and Tinker Tailor. And we'll tell James to update the events page. The week was sort of in flux because a bunch of us are leaving on Thursday, but we have plans. Plans! All right, see you later.